And we are on. Good evening, everybody. This is Chief Warhorse. We have a nice panel up here tonight. We have Brother Ishmael with us. We have Sister Phoenix, and we have the lady that is going to be cooking with us tonight and serving it up on land patent litigation, and that's Miss Jennine Labuzan. Are y'all hearing me clear out there? Give me a clearance. I see greetings. Tell me if y'all hearing me clear. And we are going to start off with, let's see, as y'all coming in. Let me get over here to my show so I can see over here how many people coming in. While I'm waiting for people to come in, we're going to start introducing ourselves before we get into the talk. So we'll start off with Phoenix and then we'll move on into the order as we go after Brother Ishmael and then our guest. Brother Ishmael, you can take over for right now. I'm going to pull up our YouTube. We're going to talk our way in. Excuse me, y'all. We're going to talk our way in while we are waiting on our people to come into the room.
Absolutely, Chief. Absolutely, no problem. You just let me know.
Okay. You can start whenever you're ready.
Yes, Chief. I want to thank you so much for having us this week. We're looking forward to having some very good home cooking. We have Miss Sarah Rector 2.0 as our guest this evening. So honored to be able to uh, share the information last week, and now we're able to hear firsthand the guest, Sister Jennine, being able to come in. I want to thank Cousin Phoenix Moon for being able to make it this week. We had a really good and productive day. And excellent job for everyone supporting the petition. We have broken the barrier. We are now past 11,600 certified signatures on the petition as we continue our march on to Washington, D.C. and what we're addressing. Again, thank you so much for the continued support of our brother Kyrie Irving, as well as Hawthorne James, that's Big Red from the movies, y'all know, as well as Dr. Cynthia McKinney and so many other people who have really just supported us along the way as we continue to push forward. I want to thank the illustrious Chief Warhorse for setting the example of being able to take care of things on the local level as well as on the national level. Don't forget the cyber level because we're getting busy on these cyber waves too. So again, we're very honored to have our sister Jennine being able to join us this evening. I want to pass on the mic to cousin Phoenix Moon. And again, thank you everybody in the chat. We love you and we're here to support you and we'll continue to work for you. Again, thank you. Peace and blessings.
Thank you. Okay, Phoenix, you're next. We have 38 in the room. We don't start serving nothing up at the kitchen till we hit the number 50.
That's right, the 50. That's right. So let's share. Thumbs up and
right
share.
Now we're showing 40 in the room. Phoenix, go ahead. We still got 10 more people before we start serving anything.
Now, if Moon having the technological problems, you know me, I'm going to get busy up in here. So just let you know, we had not only a great productive week last week, but the things that we have planned coming up. Don't forget, Chief will be available on Tuesdays. So on the Tuesdays of being able to come with Cooking with Chief, we have some really nice shows that are on being planned for you right now. Make sure that you're able to subscribe and that you're able to thumbs up and share as we continue to train the algorithm. What we're going to be doing is making sure that we maximize the technologies that YouTube have available. Chief will be sharing some very important information as far as what YouTube is looking for and how we can improve as a family. So just know and understand that we're continuing to upgrade the technology available in order to make sure we're able to do the work for you. Cousin Phoenix Moon will be coming back and joining us shortly. But again, don't also forget that we have the upcoming Bofaca grand opening of the museum, which will be in October. So make sure you're getting your hotels, make sure you're getting everything available in order to participate. Don't be late and make sure you participate. We have the museum grand opening in October. That's going to be the October 31st date. So make sure you're able to get everything in line, and we'll be sharing that information later on during the broadcast also. Chief, was there anything specific that you wanted to share of what was coming up as we start off with the program? I think our cousin Jennine has to come back in also. But as we take care of this technological things, what we'll do is make sure, because Chief is in her new location, so as we're getting some fine tuning ready with the Wi-Fi, we'll continue to refine and get better with what's going on with that. I think some of the people are dropped off, but they'll be able to come back in as we reset. And Chief, are you able to hear me okay?
Trying to bring Phoenix in.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. And I think Sister
I'm
Jennine should be.
back.
All right, Moon, we hear you. We hear you fine.
T-Mobile had outages. My phone's been acting wacky. Our internet service, which is not T-Mobile, has been acting up for a couple of days now. So I don't know. Did
Yeah, all
everybody
of this
else
is
phones?
acting up. I'm acting up too over here. That's what I'm saying. Some people have been telling me while I've been making contacts around the country, they've been having problems. So y'all bear with us. It's not us, it's the technology. Okay, we have 51 people in the room. Phoenix, we was waiting on you to give your introduction and your talk. Um, you up, Phoenix? We got 54 people in the room.
Well, I
Um,
just want to say
I'll talk.
thank you to you. Of course, our wonderful host. And I just love being in the kitchen with you. I wash my hands. I'm ready to set the table. You just tell me what to do. Um, and I look forward to cooking with you tonight. Good to see everybody,
Well,
and always
we
a
also
pleasure,
gotta
Chief.
let them know you got that cafe. You gotta let them know you got that cafe started now. And you got to get over there and see what the cafe be serving up. Some of the people saw what you and Ishmael put out, and they liked it, the cafe dish, Ishmael. So I shared it with the Bonfaka Live, and y'all got good feedback on that one. They liked it. They liked the Bonfaka sign, Ishmael, Amy, and say that's a pretty sign. They kind of like to encourage us on how that sign gonna look. Okay, thank you for that idea. Um, well, Phoenix, Ishmael covered the part talking about the petition, which he told me today is getting some great hype. Um, if you have anything you want to say about the petition or whatever, go ahead. Then we'll get ready to start serving. We got 59 people in the room. So when you got 59 in the room, we can drop a few nuggets. So go ahead, Phoenix. You got the floor still.
Again, yes, the petition. We want to thank everybody for supporting us, and I'm pretty sure that our people's in the chat, because Sunflower, Sister Celestine, gonna drop it in the chat for you. For the people that have not seen the petition, we appreciate all your support. It really means a lot, and we out here fighting the good fight, and that's what we do. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Okay, guys, here's where we're at tonight. We are going to be talking about land patents, and I am bringing on the display on the board since y'all liked it. If we see any curse words, hear any curse words, ranchers catch it. If anybody being rude, get them off our board because we have a family friendly station. All right. So we want to keep it that way. Y'all with me? So we do have the display on the board so you can keep up, especially those by television, so that you know what's going on and how the chat room is flowing. They said they liked it, that one, Phoenix. So there's the chat room on the board. Long as everybody follow the clean family rule, it'll stay on there. If we start getting people making chats in here that we don't accept, and if the Rangers don't catch it, that means we gotta take it off the board. Now, if y'all want to keep the chat along with the live, make sure we keep that chat clean. All right. Now, to start off with, where we're at tonight, how did we get to the topic of land patent? Well, one way we got to the topic of land patent is Ishmael and Phoenix. I and Mr. Waldo been talking about this for years. Um, sometimes a lot of the audience don't understand land patent. And the first thing people want to think, sovereign nation, no tax, something free, all of that stuff. And really, that's not the truth. Really, those are the things can get you in trouble. Okay. And before I bring on our guest tonight, before she start serving up what she brought to the kitchen, I want you to understand some things. Land patents is a very ticky topic. Okay. And why would we be talking about that on Cooking with Cheese, serving up history? Because land patents is historical. You have land patent from France, Spain, Britain, and United States. Then United States gave out different levels, different kinds of land patents, okay? And each one come from under a different act of Congress. That means all land patent does not operate and function the same way. And it is an honor to have our guest because she actually coming from a different kind of land patent than the ones that I have. And we want to kind of get y'all to understand land patent don't mean because you got the land patent, you jump out there, you go and take somebody's land because your grandparents' name is on. Well, it don't work that way, and it's not that easy, and you can find yourself in a lot of trouble. It's even hard to find attorneys or people to represent you with land patents. And then you hear people, oh, I'm going to sue United States. Well, I had some of the top lawyers in this country that told me that's not a smart move because what lawyer going to sue for you and end up lessening their chance of getting new cases through United States without problems. Y'all understand the politics of that, right? So it's hard to get an attorney to sue United States, but you can get attorneys to negotiate. But land patents is bound by Congress. So when it's bound by Congress, we got to deal with Congress to deal with land patents. And it shouldn't be a lawsuit. It should be your representative. That's why we got to watch who we are voting for. We should have a representative that's willing to take this and interpret it properly. And the interpreter, y'all know, you just went through the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment. Who interprets the law of Congress is who? The Justice Department. Okay? They are the one that handles that word that you see, land patent litigation. Litigation means you're going to the legal side of the matter. You don't just go grab people property and set up camp and say, oh, it's mine. So what I want y'all to understand, land patents could be something that is concrete. You know, like I told Ms. Labuzan, people go to talk about go and get a trust. You don't need a trust. A land patent is higher than a trust. A trust is set up by a judge and a court system and a clerk. A land patent is an act of Congress. Okay, if you close by your computer, would you pull up Act of Congress and give a briefing on that so that the people that's out there, because a lot of times people jump the gun and don't read and research. You want to pull that one up for us? And I'm gonna tell y'all while we waiting on him to pull that up, the AI just really jumped into our topic from last week when we were talking about land patent, and it was strange. I saw on the show that came back from AI with YouTube letting us know that the land patent topic was one of the biggest things that you all was discussing and asking about. Okay, so AI is listening, and so we had discussed this last week with our salad, and look at here, this week we don't have we took that out the salad. We serving the next dish. We serving up land patent litigation. So keep them likes going and keep those. We see what they were saying on that thing. I think it was 100s and hearts made it pick up. So y'all throw some fire hearts and 100s up here. I'm bringing to the stage. With the camera, there you go. Come on, Ish, you ready?
Yes, Chief, we're ready. So as we deal with the Act of Congress, it says that the land patent is an official document used to transfer public land ownership from the federal government to a private person or company. Key aspects include enabling legislation, the General Land Office administration, and the final title conveyance. So
okay,
that's what
when you say final title, that means that's an absolute.
Absolute. Correct.
Okay, that's called an absolute title. Now, we got to look at how did you lose something that was absolute. You know, how can you lose that? All right, there you go. You want to do me a favor, Ish? Instead of the 1862, go to 1820 first.
Okay, we'll go to 1820. No problem, Chief.
Yeah, go to 1820. These are different land patents, guys, under different guidelines. 1820 is a totally different from the 1862. You want to make it a little large so they can see. So you know, this is part of your genealogy. When you go to looking for your people, you find what they had. And this is what I mean when I say foundational America. 1820 was directly after the Louisiana Purchase and the expansion from the east to the west. And we got to realize when they say to the west, they was talking west of the Raw Proclamation line, because the 13th colony was within the other side. So they was moving into Indian territory. So in 1820, let's see what happened, because there's a different type of land patent that went out in 1820. It does not mean you Native American or none of that, but it does mean this, that you have a piece of the foundation of America. Do you all understand? Which would make you a foundational person. You know, the ground is the foundation. Okay, brother, Ish, take it and roll with it.
Yes, indeed, Chief. The Land Act of 1820. The Land Act of 1820 was a significant piece of legislation in U.S. history that aimed to reform the process of land sales in the newly settled territories. Passed by Congress on April 24, 1820, the act abolished the previously popular credit purchase system, mandating that all land transactions be conducted with full cash payment. This change was introduced in response to the growing federal debt following the War of 1812 and challenges in collecting payments from buyers who had previously purchased land on credit. Under the new law, the price of land was reduced from $2 to $1.25 per acre, making it more accessible for settlers. Furthermore, provisions were made for those still in debt from prior purchases, allowing them additional time to fulfill their obligations and even surrender part of the land to settle their debts. While the act sought to address some existing issues related to public and land sales, it also highlighted the complexities of land policy, which were influenced by sectional interest and political dynamics of the time. The legislation played a crucial role in shaping the landscape of American settlement and ownership.
Did y'all get that? Now, let's see the difference between 1820 to 1862. We're going to speed it up a little, because a lot of time people just think land patent. There are various land patent. There's land that was given to the Indians, which is called Indian strips. Which I do have one of those, or some of those, put it that way. And I have land patents after you have the right to be a citizen, which people of color could not purchase property, well, should I say of African descent or slave descent. But here we got people proving that they had land patents, even though they said slaves didn't have the right to purchase. And we in the 1820s and 1862, Ishmael and Phoenix, with people having land patents. So who were those people? And we're going to talk about that a little bit. All right, 1862. Now we're talking along with the Civil War era. Okay, I'm going to shut up, turn it over to Brother Ish. Go ahead, Brother Ish, what you found?
Yes, Chief. We're talking about the Homestead Act of 1862. To help develop the American West and spur economic growth, Congress passed the Homestead Act of 1862, which provided 160 acres of federal land to anyone who agreed to farm the land. The act distributed millions of acres of Western land to individual settlers. Until the Civil War, opposition from the Southern legislators who feared homesteaders would work to prevent slavery in new territories, and some Northern legislators who feared the cheap land would lower property values and lure laborers west, prevented passage of the legislation. But with the dramatic departure of the Southern senators in 1861, supporters finally succeeded. Similar legislation, the Southern Homestead Act of 1866, offered the same promise to loyal Southerners and freedmen who can settle public lands. Passage of these acts encouraged farming of more land during the war years and continued to do so for decades to come. By 1890, the federal government had granted 373,000 homesteads on some 48 million acres of undeveloped land. Quote.
Okay, it says freedmen. You see that? Freedmen, not freeman, freedmen. Okay? And see, right now we got this dispute of people of in Oklahoma who is a freedman. A freedman does not mean slaves, okay? I want y'all to understand that. I think on one of the shows, 2 years ago, we talked about freedmen. Put a note on that, Ishmael. We're going to come back on that topic a little bit more tonight on freedmen, because people don't understand. You had immigrants who came to this country, and the way that they came in, they have to be a freedman, meaning they have to accept citizenship to America, become a Christian, all of that. Y'all with me? And then they had rights as other citizens to vote. After they did all this, to vote and participate in governmental things. Y'all got that clear? So freedmen was a category, right? And when we're talking about immigration right now, immigrants have been coming here to America since the beginning of before America. We had France, Spain, and Britain. America just celebrated 250 years. So who was the people here before then? Did they all leave? No, they didn't. They were still here, got reclassified under each generation, just like people don't want to be called black, but the Spanish called you Negro. Y'all with where I'm at? Language changes and all of this. Now, the land patent situation, like in Oklahoma, how do people like Mr. Waldo have land patents? And he's a freedman. Y'all with where I'm at?
Yes, so,
because Indians were free people of color. We was already free. Y'all see what I'm saying? Even though they enslaved some Indians. Then everybody of color that have land patent doesn't mean it was an Indian. Because at a point, the French descent and the Spanish descent, a lot of them that looked like us, they fell underneath people of color or free people of color. Y'all hear what I'm saying? So why I want y'all to understand the difference in these land patents is because one more Ishmael, pull up, for instance, Choctaw strips. Let's just do that one. Indian strips or Choctaw strips, because that's 3 different kinds of land patent. Now, what people get today from real estates is color titles. Okay, you have color titles, then you can go and get quick claims, and that's what I think our guest is a part of. People quick claimed a lot of her stuff, but does that stuff overpower the absolute title? Okay, let's see what we got. We need the strips. That's Oklahoma. But go straight for Choctaw strips. I think that's the way it's called with the government. Land allotment. United States Indian land allotments. That is still a allotment that falls under that. All these different names, you got to get familiar with them. Zoom in, I think you got it, Ish. Now, we in Oklahoma looking at land allotment, but land allotments came more than one way. Or should I say land patent? Our patents came from United States to our individual grandparents at that time. Oklahoma land patents, once they became a part of the United States, the land patent went to the tribe, whichever tribe, Choctaw, Chickasaw, Creek, and then they conveyed the land patents over to the individual Indians in their nation. And ours come straight from the United States, signed by the president and secretaries and treasurer of the United States to us. So do y'all see the difference I'm talking about now? Let me know over in the chat if y'all with me, because I'm not trying to lose you. You found them, Ish?
Well, I'm looking for anything that's dealing with the ancestral homelands, but it's still guiding us back to the Oklahoma, where we know that there were also treaties that
these land patents. This was patents given from the United States to individual Indians. Okay. And look at this here. Wait, stop right there. I just spotted something. Come down. Do y'all know? I got to touch on this as you pass by, because that word Shata. Okay. Right. Y'all know good and well they were Choctaws around this country. They was the Choctaws. So people take your name, and they when they find out I told y'all they stole the wrong name, but now they're trying to claim back a Shatta heritage. What it says right there, a new Shatta homeland.
Right. That's
Okay,
what they said. Yes.
y'all would have knew about Shattas if all of them would have been using Shatta all this time. Look here, now they starting to use the word Shatta.
In
Who is
2021.
the Choctaws? Who is the Choctaws now? What happened to the Choctaws?
Yes.
So when we give these people information, they upload it into their brain because they don't know who history they done took. So we got to stay on top of this stuff. You know, they had people laughing at me that it was no such as a Shatta. I made Shatta up. Well, why is the federally recognized tribe using a make-up name? Y'all with me? That's a good way to go to it, Ishmael. Because another thing, you can't go on what you get from these federally recognized tribes. They trying to dress stuff up now, about as colorful as the clothes they dancing. All right. Let me get Phoenix back on this stage. All right,
Okay.
Phoenix, back in. Phoenix. Phoenix. I think she can hear us. Let me see.
Can you hear
Okay,
me?
now we can hear you.
Osio,
Okay.
can you hear
So,
me?
could you keep up with what we were saying when you dropped? We're talking about these land patents, 1820, 1862, and also land patents that was given to Indians. And I was saying, uh, now they're using the word Shatta on all this stuff. But, they were laughing at me with Shatta said and said, I made Shatta. But now the federally recognized tribe is using Shatta. So did they know who they was all this time? So, they lost everything by going to Oklahoma? Or is this junk made up some of the history they done shared with people? And this is the way you end up losing your land and your land rights. All right, guys? Because they make you not know who you are. So they could take your, all right? So you need to do your genealogy. You need to know where you come from. You need to know where your roots is. But anyway, Ishmael, go ahead with whatever you have with the Indian, or we can come back to it. Because what I want, that's right, baby, them $5 ones. But what they don't understand is we have foundational proof. We have ties to this land. And you see, when Ishmael brought to me what was happening to Miss Labuzan, I'm like, wait a minute, that happened to my people. They wanted to force them to sign their rights away. How are you going to force me to sign my rights away if I don't own what you're trying to make me sign? You understand what I'm saying, Ishmael and Phoenix?
I do, and I think I'm glad you're highlighting this, Chief, because it brings up a very important, nuanced conversation. I think our sister Jennine is coming from a bloodline that is so important because we're talking about these quote unquote historically free people of color who
That's
are
where she's
very
coming from.
industrious.
That's
And they
right.
were very industrious with the moves that they were making, as well as the land and how land was being transferred. So I'm really looking forward to being able to hear her story.
Yes, we are. We're fixing to bring her on right now because why I want to touch on those land patents. I don't want people running out here talking about sovereign nation, no tax, no. She's in a serious battle, and that battle is costing
Yes.
her, and she need people to watch her and protect her. Okay, because she's trying to navigate through Mississippi. Okay, do I need to say any more? People of color in Mississippi, people of color in the South, anything below the 31st parallel, we got to look out for each other. Okay. So I didn't want the sister out there by herself. So I invited her to be here with us. And y'all, I'm fixing to bring her to the stage so that y'all get to hear from her. Let me go. There she is. Come on, sister, talk to us.
Hey, Osio, Halito, peace. What's up? How y'all doing? Thank you so much, everybody, for all of your support. It's been an interesting couple of months as those of you has been following my story. saw that I was picked up by marshals from my home base here in Georgia to go to Mississippi recently in a contempt of order for not following an order in August to sign over land deeds to three major corporations that's currently on some land patented titles from my third great grandfather that I had been in litigation with for the last several years. And the long story short of it is that, my defendants created a fake sales contract, threw that in the books once we started, because that would be the only thing that could throw me out from still being able to claim his land titles if they could try to show that he conveyed or sold out his interests. So that's the lie that they had to stick with, the whole time. And basically, the judge was in their hand and in their corner, really didn't let us ever get to pull out the real information past the initial complaint and responses. So I never got a chance for discovery and things of that sort. And she did try to dismiss my case, early on, so that we wouldn't be able to dig up all the information, and my defendants would have to really show proof about the document that they presented. And so, but upon her closing out my case, she still wanted me to sign over the land that they claimed I didn't own, but sign the land over to them. So they thought we were Boo-Foo the Clown, and tried to use all their scare tactics, but we're still in the fight. And I'm just so glad to get this conversation, out more to the public. Some of those that are following me kind of know that I've been in this case, but I'm kind of also low key. I don't have a big following or whatever, but I have been trying to share the importance of this topic because it's linked to our genealogy. We all have different, pieces of the puzzle into the fabric of this early American history. And no matter what the complexities of that is, once you do your genealogy and you discover that you potentially have these land records, whether it's through Indian Springs Treaty, Dancer Rabbit treaties, cash purchases, homestead acts, whatever, just go back and claim it. That's what we need to do, because we need to restore ourselves in our future generations. And that's what we have.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Okay, now I can hear you. Okay.
All right. Sorry, I had my mic muted, so I would let you finish out your story before we start getting into things. I had talked with Sister Labuzan for a while, and some names in Louisiana I told her click. So give them a little bit on where your grandfather was from. Give us a little bit on that, because then I'll touch on what I told you. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So my third great grandfather was in New Orleans. He was some of the first people of the New Orleans municipality, if you will, when they started that area there. He and his wife, and he lived there from his 20s onward until his death, which was in 1869. He would be there, my second grandfather, my first grandfather, my grandfather, and then my first great grandfather, and then my grandfather as children. They all migrated to the Bay Area. So I start my roots in California, in the Bay Area. So we were some of the first colored families, if you will, in like the Berkeley, Oakland area.
Okay, so you've been the first on a lot of things, huh? Okay. Now, I told her that the name Labuzan, for one, is an old name of New Orleans anyway, from the free people of color. So you see, this is what you get on this channel. We're not just talking about what happened with the Indians, because the Indians and the free people of color, you're not marrying a lot of them, okay? Then some didn't, but they still was our free people of color cousins to the ones who married the French people. Y'all where I'm at? So they are people on the French side. May not be our people on the Indian side, but they are our French connection to the free people of color who came here. Y'all with me on that? Now, the name Labuzan was business people, free people of color that was going in and out of France doing business. They also was in a winery business, the Labuzans. So they was in Orleans. before there were New Orleans. Y'all with me? See, did y'all know there was Orleans and then New Orleans? Is somebody in the room tell me what Orleans? Where is Orleans back in those days before United States? I see you in the room, Noreen. Don't you be trying to answer. Let them answer first. If not, you can put it in the chat. All right. So we got to know these places. They change names, switch stuff around. That's why y'all see I'm fighting to keep Bonfaka, even though Slidell is the city. But Bonfaka, y'all have found it out, is a rural part of the Slidell area that's not incorporated in the city limits. So, the good thing is now we have the museum in the city limits. Y'all see what I'm saying? Which means we had good elected officials who were not trying to hide the truth for a change. We got elected officials that saying, hey, let's bring this to the forefront. We want to hear the history of this. And see, so Noreen, while you over there with Bonfaka giving it some fire, where is Orleans? Not New Orleans, Orleans. Put that in the chat so they know. I'm looking at stuff that people are saying, the masking Indians is Indians. Most of the people that mask in New Orleans is not originally from New Orleans. Did y'all know that? They migrated from other areas. Okay? So we get caught up in people trying to,
Chief, I wanted to add something because what's unique in your situation with the documentation bringing you back to the 1400s, land patents were issued by the Spanish, the French, the United States, and Great Britain also. And just for the layered systems that they had, the Spanish called them Mercedes, right? And
that's correct.
The early 1600s, like the crown grants to the settlers and the missionaries and the soldiers under that papal bull Terranullius. Then you had French, and the French called them long lots.
That's right. Now don't forget, you had some under the Catholic Church too. Okay.
Right.
Because the Catholic Church acquired property because they was a sovereign nation. Okay. And we keep leaving that out. That's how the church gets so much land, because they had patents. You with me now?
Right.
They had land given out to them basically under the doctrine of discovery. That's how you end up with a priest, Jesuit or Roman Catholic priest, that was traveling with every expedition, right? So you got to look at these different ways of land. So some land was taken for the church to establish a church everywhere they went. That's why Catholics sometimes don't understand they have dual citizenship. When you Catholic, you are counted on the Catholic role as a citizen, and you're counted in whatever area of United States you're in. And back then it was France, Spain, Britain, or whatever. You had dual citizenship to the Catholic Church. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of times the Catholic Church would take portions of their lands, and it would be designated to put housing for women or housing for Indians. That's why in the beginning they had the Black Indian Mission. As they were removing the Indian, it was Black Indian Mission. Then it becomes Black and Indian Mission. You see what I'm saying? They threw the word "and" in there. Are y'all with me? So you got to know where you acquired your land from. How did you acquire your land? Then a lot of churches end up with their land on land patents that was already given to other individuals. You with where I'm at? Y'all with me? We're going to get deep in this topic as time go on. We in our stable studio, we can do some shorts and throw them out there after y'all to give you clarity. But the main thing is to get the whole part of this meat. We can throw you some nuggets and some shrimp dip and all this stuff along the way. But I want you to know you acquired land different ways in different areas under different treaties. What fit for one person may not work for the next. But one thing you cannot do under United States law, just because you at the point of discovery. She's at what they call a point of discovery. That's a legal term. Put that in the chat, somebody. Her point of discovery was when? When did you find out? She said she found the land by doing her genealogy. So all y'all better go do your genealogy. Genealogy can tell you if you are foundation. Do you own a piece of America? Did you ever own, even if it was stolen like some of ours? Okay. When was the point of discovery that you found out you was robbed? Before Jim Crow and during Jim Crow. And when you find out that is your point of discovery underneath the rights, people can talk about civil rights, they ain't got nothing to do with it, but our civil rights didn't start till 1968. We just could get into the court records. Our people wasn't trying to go in these court records like we are doing now. So point of discovery is starting in our time, all right? So the technology also helped a lot of people to have point of discovery. But if you don't do your genealogy, you're not going to discover. You can't just because your skin is the same color declare that you are foundational to America. I'm foundational to America. I'm foundational to Spain. I'm foundational to Britain. I'm foundational to France because we had lands under all of that. Are y'all with where I'm at? Now, let's get into let's cut this roast she brought. We're going to call this a roast because we're going to slice it now. Okay? So she brought roast to the restaurant. Okay? Now, I'm going to slice that first butt end off of it. Okay? What is that piece I'm going to slice off? Could you tell them how many acres, and you're not through, but just on one of your land patent that connects to your genealogy, how much land are we talking about on that one that you and I talked about?
Yeah, my first case that I have there in Washington County, Mississippi, is for 1,300 acres.
Stop right there. Somebody put that in the chat. And if people are talking about reparation and all these stupid talks, okay? This lady found out just on one piece, that's 1,300 acres of foundational America. Because her land patent is in 1820. Not a slave because they're running businesses. Her grandfather purchased the property at either $1.25 to $2 per acre. Because somebody put that in that thing. They didn't say he was on a plantation and the master gave him nothing and he was a person of color. Okay, guys? So this slave myth.
And 40 acres in the music. Conscription law.
Say it again, Phoenix.
A conscription law that allowed them to purchase it outright, free and clear from cash.
So that means he had to be a freed man under that 1820, correct? Free man of color. And he had, that's just one of the piece of lands that he bought. Okay? Now, my thing is, the land patents need to go to Congress because if her stuff was stolen using the Jim Crow law, she can start right there at $1.25 to $2 an acre. In 1820 is when he purchased it, and time that by today's cost. Because Ishmael, could you work on that? Pull it up for us because the computer. Yeah, I'll do it real quick. Y'all see how we talking now? At today's value, let's do it, round it off at $2 an acre in 1800, 1,200 acres, and put it in the chat. If y'all enjoying what we're doing, let me see y'all send some hundreds and send some hearts up if y'all love this. And then when y'all get through, I want y'all to send some fire and hearts to our. She didn't come to you with maybes or might. She came to you, I'm fighting for my peace. I told her she may not ever get all of her land, but somebody owe her something because they're trying to make her sign it away. And that is history. History of land patents, how they were taken away from people that look like us. Come on, come on, come on. What y'all saying over in the chat? Is that not foundational? Would you put that in there, Noreen? I got a question. Is that not foundational? She got 1,300, one of her patents, $1,300 of a piece of, 1,300 acres of a piece of America. 1,300 acres, one patent. Okay, somebody putting something in there, $2 in 1800s. Oh, let me go back and see what you said. It's about $65.48 today. Time that by the 1300. Let's say that was his purchase price. And like she said, we're gonna slice another piece off this roast. See, that was the first piece we sliced off. I'm gonna slice you another piece. I'm gonna slice you another piece. Okay. Here's the next piece I'm gonna slice.
I do have the share screen whenever you're ready, Chief. Just to estimate.
All right. Let me give thanks to the person that made the contribution. We appreciate everything that y'all do. Help us keep this place going. We just getting started, like Ish told you. We're gonna dig in. We diving into these meals of how they stole from us. Okay? They could say we need to go back to Africa. I don't know nothing about Africa, but I can show you land here that a lot of us have. That somebody, Congress or somebody, gonna have to organize a way to meet our needs, those who were robbed. Are y'all with me? You know, you got a special thing. We don't want to go through no BIA. We don't want to go be with no 500 and whatever 74 tribes that don't like us, that's racist. But I'll tell you what we do want to know. How do people of color, as well as Indians, that had a piece of foundation and don't have it, and when the paperwork say for heirs and assigned forever? Something to think about, huh? You got people talking about reparation and they don't have a paper with some figures. This lady showing you. If she want reparation on what she had.
Mm-hmm. That's right there. That's it. Family by family. That's how we gonna get it back. You know,
you and you don't have your name on nothing to say you owe reparation. Do they owe slaves reparation? Yes, but you gotta go do your genealogy and put yourself back to the plantation. And that plantation may not be a white person. That plantation may be a person of color who owned a plantation. Are y'all with where I'm at on there? Come on now. We pin the head tail on the donkey on white folks, and we don't want to pin the tail on people of color that also had slaves, especially in New Orleans and Mississippi. You have what they call Creole plantations. Can y'all put that in there? Now, how you get a Creole? Oh, well, some people say because you got French blood. All right. I hear people say black folks didn't own no land. They turned them loose with nothing. That's not true, because a lot of slaves walked away with some land too. But their children is singing somebody else's song instead of going to do your own genealogy and see what your people had. And it may be more than 40 acres and a cotton picking mule, and you don't want to be in this hot sun 100 degrees with a mule. Okay? Go see who you are. If you was free people of color, you end up getting reclassified and they took your stuff. I'm an Indian, they took my stuff. This lady is an example of a free person of color family. But that was in Louisiana before it became America. And she have land back. Why she don't have it? Because they passed laws saying you couldn't have your stuff. They had nepotism where people would get in and give color titles to our land to other people for a cost. Y'all with where I'm at? I got some papers where the judge put his name on some of the papers as if it was his stuff. Because we didn't have people that looked like us in the courtroom. Our ancestors had to rely on these other folks. Now, don't get me wrong. Free people of color was very educated, some of them, because they went back to France for the education. But when they came back to the United States, what could they do? Okay, somebody just came back with the number. 1 acre in Mississippi is $3,000. So it could be, I'll say like this, it could be $3 million. Okay. So even if she have, what I'm trying to say, what I'm telling you, I play with these numbers, she got some numbers to play with to talk about her reparation of what was taken from her. Are y'all with me? So if you haven't proved that, yeah, baby, the judge, I got the judge. He dead, but he was who they gave them to handle litigation. So you got to watch who handle litigation for you, okay? Because way back then, somebody say they found 250 acres in Alabama. So when you can do that, like Ishmael, he said he still have his people still on their land patent. Okay. So you fighting for to keep what you got. I'm fighting to keep what I got and get back some of what I lost. I'll never get all what I lost. Just like I told Ms. Labuzan, you'll never get all that they stole from. But you can get enough. America need to say where we fit. They give what they call it, restitution to other countries. They give restitution to other people. They gave restitution to the Jews. They gave restitution to the Japanese, the Vietnamese. You haven't given some of us our restitution, and we got proof we do some kind of restitution.
I do want to point something out, Chief, if I may.
Go ahead.
Black land ownership has dwindled down. In the 1920s, we had between 14 and 19 million acres of Black land ownership in the 1920s. Today, we own less than 1 million. For us to go from 19
million. Patton said it was for farmers. Look at the Black farmers that was fighting even when Dr. King was living, because they were taking the Black farmers' land. They wouldn't even let them sell products from their farms. They squares them out. Then we just had the Black farmers lawsuit settled. Those were farms. It says on the document. It was for farmers.
And that's what I wanted to point out, Chief. There were systems in place of robbing us of our land, giving us bad seeds. You would find women who may work in the record centers, and then they'd give information to their husbands who may have been the sheriff. But then that sheriff would put on a hood at night and identify the heads of families in order to drive families out from their land that they rightfully own. So there was systems.
And then they pressured us. See, this is the way we get our voice heard. This is what the petition is about. So if any of y'all haven't signed the petition, please sign the petition, because the reclassification gave them the right under Jim Crow to say that you was from somewhere else, or you didn't have a right to it because of the color of your skin. And they reclassified you so they didn't have to deal with that. But whoa, they did not understand that the day was going to come that technology was going to help us to expose what happened to us. Nobody's going to fight for us but us. I'm being honored, y'all. My parish, my state leadership, and we're going to go into that on another show, because I was going to do it on this show, but y'all ordered land patent discussion. So that's what we're serving. I'm serving you with your order. But I'm coming back to you all serving what we got for a house special real soon, okay? Now,
also, Chief, before you even go to your next point, I just want to add in one more thing right here, is that in addition to what you guys were saying about the farmers, also you have to pay attention to President Truman had the land lease deal right as we were kind of doing the World War I, World War II time, where all of a sudden he confiscated, because, it was a kind of a systematic progression to getting all our stuff. So they first shut down all of the Freedmen Bureau banks and those records, right? And stole all that stuff. Then Truman came with the land lease deal, and he then seized over 1 million farmers' lands. Now, that don't mean how many acres it is. That's individual stuff. And then all of a sudden, the government has all these resources to give to its allies in other countries. And so, of course, basically, they took all our stuff. So that's also part of where the foundation of his land lease deal resources came with here in the United States, came by seizing our stuff as a part of those farmers that then continue on for those that did hold on to get the further discrimination as the 40s and 50s and 60s came in. But it starts with his land lease deal as well prior to that. Because World War I, the more I keep wondering, even though we think we're fighting about overseas, is really an eternal war on us here too, because all our men are gone. Now you're stealing all our lands. Women left, farms left, lands left.
Women and children. It made it easy, And it's not the first time the men have to go to war and the women and children have to survive. I brought my face on here with you so I can let people see what I'm fixing to say.
Yeah, because I was like, where is everybody? Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Now, here we go. No, I wanted to give you your time so they can see you, hear you, see your sincerity about what you're doing. And I got another slice to come off that roast with, but I want to come to this part first. I want y'all to see this. Not only was they doing this then, they're still doing it now. Okay? They're doing it now.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to depend on the same people who great grandparents who put the cahoots together on us. Then we got to deal with their kids, because remember, they didn't train their kids to what they did and how they got what they have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But at least give us our history back. See, we got to get our history. And to get our history, we got to get our genealogy. We got to know that we are from here. We got people being elected that they people came through Ellis Island. We was already here. We have people who just got in this country, don't even have legal paperwork, determining what we should do and what we should get and how we should be treated and recognized for our contributions in wars, our contribution in labor, and building this country. But they get to say what we don't deserve. But we can write billions of dollars of checks and send to other countries that they say we owe them. What we owe them for? Mm-hmm. If I go to the grocery store and I don't have nothing in my basket, I don't owe them nothing. So what's in the basket in these other countries, that the basket that from America, that America picked up and put in that basket that we still trying to pay the tab for? You know what it was? Mm-hmm. Their riches of their country. I just heard some country, Ishmael, done found what, $12 trillion in gold?
Yes, indeed.
Which country going to go over there and claim them $12 trillion? Wherever there's a wealth, somebody got to come one of the countries and take it. And they write laws to justify that they can do it. But here we sit, waiting on political parties, Democrat or Republican, to represent this. And have y'all heard of any elected official discussing what we are talking about now? Have y'all heard any lawyers picking up these cases for us? No, because it don't have no interest for them. So that's when you got to start standing up. I'm so glad now I'm riding around and I can see a few little signs of Bonfaka. Bonfaka never left because we didn't let it leave us. And I am still going to say I am honored to have elected officials that's getting pride in Bonfaka. Now, slice another piece off this roast right quick because we overtime. The next piece I want to slice off this roast is we talked about how much. That was just a one piece. Tell me on the next slice, what are you looking at with the court system? What have they been doing with the court system? I'm back off because I want them to see your face while you talk. Let me get you back up on the screen. Hold up. Get you back up there. Here you go. You can have the screen back.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Well, in regard, so my strategy in approaching the land litigation was that, like you mentioned earlier, you know, what lawyer can really, or attorney can really help you tear down the system when they've taken an oath to protect it in a certain type of way? So like you were saying, they're conflicted and will be threatened if we really tear down this system, because the land patent issue is going to destroy what they've been doing for the last 200 years in regards to land sales in current time period, if you will. And this is what came up in my case earlier on when I started. You know, one of the lawyers' family, and one of the lawyer attorney offices, you know, had pleaded that in his case when he was trying to get the judge to throw my case out early on, was that, hey, if you let her get away with this, all the heirs are going to start coming back. And this is going to undo what we've been doing for the last 200 years. So this is why they were going to try to do everything they could to stop me, because they also knew probably that I was a little bit on social media too. So, you know, she's telling folks too, you know, so they're going to come, they're going to be coming. So this was the threat. But despite the fact of the obstacles that I face, and as I mentioned earlier, the only way that they could try to shut down my claim was to try to show that my ancestors sold the land. But I'm saying that to say into to the audience to be so encouraged that the laws are really on our side, guys. The Constitution is really there protecting our lineage. I know it's hard. I thought I would never be a person of color, really realizing like, wow, the Constitution is really protecting me. And it doesn't matter about what the state codes are, later stuff, when you
Did
start
y'all
getting.
hear? Did y'all hear? The Constitution is protecting her because she leaned on the Constitution because she's learning her constitutional law. Are
Mhm.
y'all with
Yeah,
me?
and with my support team, yes, because so when they try to come in with justification on being on the land using adverse possession, and some people may deal with other stuff, extinguishment, eminent domain, that doesn't supersede the constitutional law. So it's really powerful when we've always felt so defeated, and so the real defeat comes in sometimes because of who you have representing you. So my strategy is, although I'm a pro se litigant, I obviously, I do have a support council behind me, helping me navigate. And that's the only reason why I'm winning. And so what happened was my grandfather was a general. Okay. So he was a part of the Orleans Grenadiers militia. He was a part of the 1845 Spanish Mexican Wars. He was also a Confederate he was a brigadier general in the Confederate Wars. His sword has Tecumseh, the Indian chief, etched in our blade. And he guided me to find these lands. And he also guided me to be 8 steps ahead of these people. So, as you mentioned, I was in the first case, I was being railroaded, but I was in a fortunate case that I had subsequent land patent parcels in and around this first one. So what I did was I jumped ahead and started looking at some of the other defendants that I had on the other land parcels. Even though I knew this first parcel issue could be coming to an end because of the corruption of the judge. And lo and behold, I ended up discovering that the Army Corps of Engineers was occupying a 96 acre section of a neighboring parcel to the one I'm fighting with now. And we thought that would be a great strategy for us because the US Army and government, I mean, they're crooked too. They could be crooked too, but we felt that they would be less crooked than dealing with the Mississippi corporations. So we set on a pursuit to go ahead and file a claim against the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And so the idea would be to go ahead and get them to fold, basically, and then I'll be able to come and checkmate all the other partners who could have been tied under the other judge or whatever. And so recently, as that claim had gotten started in April, and originally the United States, and I'm bringing this up also because I know you had mentioned the thing about going against the United States. So it
Yes.
kind of made me laugh because I'm actually going against the United States right now and winning. So
I
I
just
just
made
wanted
it.
to share. I just
I
wanted
want
to
to make
share.
it. I want
Right.
while you're on that thought, you brought
Okay.
something up. She brought up about the Confederate. So we was on opposite sides, guys, in that time. Her grandfather was with the Confederates and my people weren't. So her people was with people like John Slidell. Okay?
Mhm.
Y'all hearing what I'm
Yeah, but
saying?
the iron, yeah, and the irony of it too is that he was a brigadier general, and that and did a lot of training in the New Orleans area for the militia groups. But as I also mentioned, we have to come see the Indian chief as etched in our blade as well. So we got different roots as well. So it's all
Uh-huh.
complex. It's all complex. But I think for all of us, the real reality and the bear of the burden is, what are we going to do?
That's
Okay?
right.
Because again, this is just one side of my family. Okay? I haven't
But you know
taken
what
into
else you're
account
bringing to the table is right now there's a lot of discussion with the Confederates. Okay, that's a good topic because now they get to see not only just not only white people have slaves, blacks did too, but not only whites it stood underneath that Confederate flag. She just told you her grandfather held
Well,
position.
yeah,
So she
and I
can't
can tell
erase that.
yeah, and I can tell you very clear that the Confederate situation has to be relooked at. That Confederacy was a majority men of color type of situation. It was not led only by white men. I know that Robert E. Lee was a man of color. Jefferson Davis was a man of color. They were not white men. You have to look at the congressional military records. You have to look at primary resource newspaper accounts that describe their wives, that describe their children, that describe Robert E. Lee, and everything you think you know about the Confederacy is incorrect. Even I saw in a historical marker, as I mentioned, my grandfather was between Louisiana and Mississippi a lot. So he also was a part of the Ocean Springs Hotel, which was in Biloxi, which I think is now called the White House Hotel. But when I was just doing some research on some other stuff, stumbled across that information and even saw that his beach house that he used to have at the Ocean Springs Hotel, I guess when he went up there, that was bought by a man. I think his name was Strickland. I forgot, but the point is, he was the husband to one of Jefferson Davis's his niece. So basically, Jefferson Davis niece is buying my grandfather's house, as a part of her house, and I got what the hell. So I had to kind of then go back and kind of really start digging out all this Confederacy stuff, but yeah, this is not but see, you wouldn't know the power of this information until you start doing your personal genealogy.
That's
Okay.
where it all
Because
starts.
you're going to see all of these different things going on in your family. I would have never thought to think about. Only thing I knew about the Confederacy was the Dukes of Hazzard, especially coming from California, Dukes of Hazzard, that car with the X on it, of course, and then when I do come down to the South, and I do live in Georgia now, and so you're more, confronted with it and certain things, but it's a misnomer in how we think all this history really went down, but you would never believe it because we've been beat up over the head with all of this slave, you don't have nothing, you ain't done nothing, you don't have any
Go
history
find your
kind of stuff.
African roots. Look, go to Africa,
Yeah.
find your African roots.
And I'm
So
not gonna lie. I thought that stuff at one point too, Kunta Kinte, whatever. I thought that was our story at one time myself until I finally, woke up to the information. But I mean, so I'm not trying to act like I always knew everything, but I did always have my grandmother from Louisiana telling me we were never slaves, but I thought she was acting too good, so I would argue with her. Yes, we were, Nana. Yes, we were.
well,
and
right
now,
now, Ms. Labuzan, let's look at this. We caught
okay,
between Democrat and Republican. Okay. All right. Back then we had the Confederacy. Okay. Versus America. Okay.
mhm.
The North and the South situation. Let's put it that way. But still, the people who was in the Confederacy end up being elected presidents and congressmen to the United States and holding major positions in this country. Sometimes I'll be asking the elected officials here. I'm like, well, did the Confederate lose or did we win? I don't know. Well, it's the same way with the Democrat and Republican thing. People got two sides, okay? And on both sides, you got black and white people, okay? I heard someone say Trump had 2 million black votes, okay? Well, that's just like we looking at, they had a lot of people in the Confederates. Let's look at the American flag. Right now, look like they swapped out the Confederate flag for the American flag because when they protest, the white supremacist protest now, they say they're going after America. So they fly their hatred under whatever flag they figure everybody else want. That's the flag they take and fly for the hatred. So are we going to throw our American flag away? Because now we got these supremacists taking it as their major flag, okay? No, we are not. I love America. Like I told you the other night, I'm a part of America. I'm a part of St. Timothy. I own a piece of America. I'm not a renter in America. I'm not an immigrant in America. I'm an owner of a piece of America. And so I'm going to have pride in that, okay? But if something happened when they had us on different sides, and you and I get a chance to see it from two different perspectives, and here we got an audience can see us coming from two opposite ends, but have the same problem. So it didn't matter what color or what side we was on. The system was used against us based on the color of our skin. That's where we at today. Could y'all put that in there, please? Like, people think you can't have an Indian that look like me, or they don't think you can descend from three people of color from France. Okay, we don't look like the other people that's running around saying I'm French descent. I'm Indian descent, because the system reclassified not only us, but they whitewashed the way our people looked. Are y'all with me on there? Talk to me, y'all.
Absolutely, Chief. You on it. Both of y'all. Beautiful dialogue of what's taking place. Again, a very nuanced conversation. And we have to re-break and reconfigure in our minds what we think we know. We have to be receptive to the truth and understand and approach it in the right spirit. So when we have these very deep dialogues, this is where the growth takes place. This is what dispels the myth in order for us all to move forward.
And we have to not look at just the color, Ishmael, that we are now, because we have to look at the color of our ancestors, because that was what was used. Color was used, not your actual race or where you was from. It was by color. And when you got a law said in the South, one drop black, that one drop they were talking about was your skin color, not what was in your vein. Are y'all with where I'm at?
Yes, indeed.
Phoenix just dropped in their color of law. That's correct. I didn't put an ending time on y'all tonight, but if y'all want to go a few more minutes, I can slice another piece off this roast. We are at 9:40 my time, and we going from coast to coast, but we are teaching history from coast to coast. Okay, so we touching on some topics that's not trying to make somebody get rich. Okay, we're talking on a topic that's going to make people get justice. I'm not talking money in St. Tammany. I'm not talking all no land back. Ishmael, you and Phoenix have been here personally. Y'all know that's not what I'm talking. I'm going to bring y'all back to the stage. What we are talking about is justice and asking the government, and that's what this whole show is about. And this is what my whole fight is about. How do we get America to see a part of history that was left out? All right, Ishmael, you and Phoenix, y'all back on the panel.
Yes.
Do y'all understand what I'm saying? So here y'all go. Y'all get a chance to talk to our guests. Y'all, I like tonight because we touching some topics haven't been touched. And while y'all over there, can y'all drop what states y'all are in? And if y'all want to come visit St. Tammany, and let's get some live served up history, put that in the chat. Send some loves and send some hundreds out there for our guests tonight. Ishmael, I'm gonna let you go first.
Well, yes, I would like to point out and applaud our sister Jennine, one, for coming on the program, but also just the approach of how she's addressing the land claims. What we're able to hear as an audience is that she didn't put all of her eggs in one basket. She diversified her approach of how she's dealing with this. She didn't putting it all in just one land claim, or, all or nothing. No. She said, no, this was dealing with that particular part of the land, and now I have a case going on here. She diversified. That's being very strategic on how you're demanding your justice. So these are important things that we should all be learning from. We may have a piece of land from our mother's side and then a whole nother piece of land from our father's side. It all deals with the genealogy and where that leads us. It may
not came the same way, right?
Right.
That's right.
It may not be the same way. So those are very important things that we're picking up, from tonight. Chief, your land acquisition is coming from treaty that's dealing with Dancing Rabbit Creek. My land ownership, as people know, is coming from the Treaty of Fort Jackson. That's dealing with the Muskogee Creeks. So people are wondering, where did these Black people get this land, in the 1800s? And then you find out where it's rooted from. So people get their lands from many different things. And that's very, very important to keep in mind.
But if they are ratified by Congress, they are still legal and binding. Okay. Now, another thing I want to say about land patent. Land patent doesn't mean you don't pay tax on your property. in these days and times because Congress have written new laws that made amendments to those things. Do y'all understand that? Land patent doesn't mean that you do what in the heck you please and don't follow local laws. Because if you look, there are laws that still governs land patents to an extent. The thing that the land patent promises you that is yours to have and to hold forever. That's like a marriage. But it doesn't go with debt do you part. It go from debt to the next generation. Do y'all understand? So that is a piece of America. She's fighting and I'm fighting and Mr. Waldo and them. Mr. Waldo refused to give up his land patents. I'm refusing. She's refusing. So then that makes us troublemakers. Okay? And I don't care who on a federal recognized role say Chief Warhorse is not an Indian and don't have what she have, but you don't see me fighting for no 40 acres and no daggone mule. Because my people was never slaves. Have paperwork. We had ownership, businesses. Okay? So I'm honored to see another person come on to share how they received their land from the United States. And she brought up about Confederates. Look at all the stuff she brought up that y'all get to go and try to get the gatherings to fix that recipe up for yourself. She didn't look at no one thing. She's not looking to go to Africa. She went in with her genealogy and discovered, I have a piece of America. Now, how can she turn on America when she have a piece of America? But what we have to stop doing is electing people, I don't care who they are, I just told an elected official this today, that don't have interest in your problems. Because we are voting for these people for representation. And if they don't want to represent us, why are we voting for them? Forget about the party. Who is going to represent my issue? Who's going to address my issue? If I'm going in the courtroom, I'm not taking a doctor, I want to take a lawyer. You'd be a fool to get the top doctor to be your representative before a judge in court. And that's the way we voting. We voting doctors when we need a lawyer. Are we voting for a lawyer when we need a doctor in the hospital? Yes, they both have a degree. Yes, they both went to college. But are you an expert at my issue? You don't go to a foot doctor for brain surgery. So we got to stop voting for people because they black or if they white, if they Democrat or they Republican. One thing United States promises, and I'm going to keep saying it. The Constitution, what we fought for when you got the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment was to have a right to vote for who you wanted to vote for. And it does not say in there, you got to pick Democrat or you have to pick Republican. It was about a vote for representation. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? Talk to me.
Yes, Chief. There was one thing you asked for me to remind you, and it was about the freedmen. You asked me to put a pin in the topic of a freedman, and don't think I forgot because I remembered.
All right, that's good. Yeah, because we got to close with that one. Because the word freedman and freedman, let's change the screen and let's see, can I bring you up, Ishmael, on the display screen? Drop it in. And we're gonna look at freedman and freedman. And why we're gonna do this is because we know the people of color were classified after within America as free people of color or freedmen, meaning they wasn't bound by slavery or freed from slavery. Y'all with where I'm at?
Yes, ma'am.
So while Ishmael bringing that up, y'all know he put that pin in it. But y'all see I was smart tonight. I didn't tell you I was getting.
And while he's bringing that up, Chief, while he's bringing that up, one thing I want to throw in there too for the audience to be wary of. When you get these land patented titles, as she mentioned, this is a contract between the sovereign and our ancestors. So, and, right. You know, but when you have people coming online and they're talking about they have allodial titles and it has like green trim around the edges of the paper, you know, like Office Max stationery stuff, and talking about they have acres and acres. You guys have to watch out because this is scamming stuff going on. Okay, because a lot of people don't have I just had to put this out here before we get too far off of this topic, because where people are preying on our vulnerability because this is a new topic. Okay, and even even in the white sovereign community, they've been talking about how to get land, allodial titles, if you will. People like Ron Gibson, he's been leading it from the 70s and the 80s and 90s. He has videos on YouTube's about land patents and allodial titles. But what he is talking about is like how you could take your current property today, say you got an acre of land and you want to give it this full patent protection of forever title, as Chief was mentioning. So he's helping you to do the research on your current property, see who originally had the land patent back in the day, and then you're going to put some paperwork that he helps you fill out, and you're going to put your mortgage and combine all that information together, and then you're going to post it publicly for 60 to 90 days. And if it's not challenged, they could kind of go back into their county and then get this allodial title from the county. Now, for white folks, this has been happening. They've been getting away with it a little bit, but now you got more of our people trying to follow this approach. But
Then they gonna go to jail.
But even if you
Like to
did
jail.
somehow get it, just for instance, if that happened to be on my uncle's land and I'm coming back for the land patented title as an heir, that will not supersede the bloodline true patent, because that's not a true allodial title. And you have people even in our indigenous community of people, whatever, claiming different Indian groups and whatever, coming out with these type of paperwork too, saying that they have millions of acres and all this stuff with the same type of paperwork. That is not a true land title. So don't be confused because they're using the language of land patented titles and land grants. And even though these are allodial titles, they're just calling their thing an allodial title. It is, but what we are talking about tonight is the true allodial title. Okay, it's a bloodline.
And the sovereign nation is America.
Right, that gave it to our ancestor or our tribe or whatever was going on at the time.
Correct.
But it is not
we're not creating that. Okay.
Yeah. So if anybody got some created stuff on that little green trim paper, you know what I'm talking about from Office Max, and printed that out on their computer, I don't care what it says, it's not the truth. So please stop being vulnerable to these energy suckers in our community that are misleading us. Okay, because I'm really sensitive about that. Because people are taking advantage of.
Where did it go? Okay, this person asking us for. Let me see. Is this it? Nope, that's not it. Hold up. I just saw something I want to. I'm not fixing to get into naming anyone because I'm not in y'all chat rooms or nothing. You have to address what come before you. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have to call names.
Y'all know. You know who you done ran across.
Yeah,
you know
just be there.
Came your way, because I'm not going to start calling names to people that I do not know. Okay, here's the one I'm talking about. I think this is it. Okay, no, I'm not giving you no example to no names because I'm not dealing with an individual thing. I'm just telling you, don't get caught in this. And if you got common sense to know if somebody trying to tell you go create a piece of paper like she said at Office Max or Office Depot, then that's fake. The stuff I'm talking about, if it's with France, Spain, Britain, United States, you should have a legit piece of paper. Okay.
Yes.
Filed somewhere.
If they're doing their genealogy, that comes with the territory.
Yeah. Someone did ask earlier, where do you look? So just in case, if you don't know, depending on where your ancestors live, depends on where you look. East Coast was given out under the British Crown. Texas and the West was under Spanish Crown. Middle United States is under the government under the Bureau of Land Management. But remember, every state has an archive building in the state. So you can look that up for your state where you can go in person and they have the land patented records there. If you have your ancestors' names, you can go, it's like a little 4th grade book. All you gotta do is just go look through the back of it and look for alphabetical order, finding your ancestor's name. And if he got something, it's gonna be on page 62 and it's gonna tell you what the microfilm number is and they can help you. If you look online.
Another thing Phoenix brought something up the other day in Phoenix. I want to step on that while we're talking on it. And you can't go just because you one person and another group in the family go, and you got all these different groups going after the same paper, because then you're going to have discrepancies with that issue with the court system, and then they don't have to deal with none of y'all. So that's why it's important for your family reunion instead of just, remember I told y'all, cooking, eating, and partying. Your family reunion should be to get to know really who you are. And so many people that wrote these books saying they from Africa and all of this kind of stuff. Now, those books is throwing the younger generation off, these little family reunion pamphlets. Okay? So Phoenix was saying the other day, it's best when families sit down together, work together, because, and then I'm going to tell you, if you find your piece of America, don't be crazy enough to try to divide it into 22 pieces because you just broke your land patent up. I wanted to get to that part.
Well, I wanted to put this on the record that I will give the same advice to this audience that I gave to the Empress of the Washita to her face. And this was in 1991. I don't know what y'all was doing in 1991. I don't know what y'all was doing 25, 30, 35 plus years ago. But I do know for a fact that there were 3 students in Cleveland, Ohio, that graduated at the same time dealing with this Moorish history and when this was coming into inception, coming out of the 90s. And that was myself, Sharif Bey, and the Empress of the Washita. And I told her that those white supremacist sovereign groups that were catering to her were lining her up to be set up by the federal government. And she did not listen to me when I told her. I showed her my land patents from Alabama, Kanaka County, telling her she did not have to team up with those white supremacists that were catering to all of us, trying to merge the Moorish theology with those white supremacist sovereignty groups, only for the groups that she was leading to be labeled as paper terrorists and black sovereign groups that you see today. So I would tell the same exact things that I was telling her was, do not team up with anyone trying to convince you to sign over your lineage and your destiny to them. They have nothing trying to get in your pockets and convince you to sign over your birthright to them. Don't fall for the charm.
People come up against you too, because
That's right.
I experienced that. They'll try to force you to allow them to infiltrate you. But that's not your family. Now you're getting to criminal stuff.
Birthright. Don't allow someone to charm you. So I'm just humbly giving you that same advice of what I was telling people over 3 decades ago.
Yes.
And if you happen to have good elected officials, and you got to ask them, because you're a lawyer don't mean you took constitutional law. Y'all with where I'm at? And because you took constitutional law does not mean you took law about land patents in the United States. You got to start looking at that. You're gonna need your political system, because you're not working a criminal thing. When you got to go meet with people in back rooms, like me and Phoenix say, in the woods, underneath houses, it's a scam. You understand what I'm saying? You're not going down there in groups standing up against the system. Well, we come to get this and no. And, I think y'all, sometimes people think that's what I'm doing, but I'm not. Okay. I'm standing on my paperwork that's standing on my grounds and agreements. You got people out there scamming people, making them think they're getting something done and can't show you nothing. This lady is telling y'all she's going the legal route. She did her genealogy. She have her legit papers. And I'm going to slice another piece off for Ishmael. She on her way. Well, she's in, Supreme Court now with one of the cases. That's another slice off that roast. What you say, baby?
No, no. I had gone to Supreme. I had been to Supreme Court. Can you hear me?
We had lost you. Do it again.
Yes, we hear you. Can you hear me? Yes, sis, we hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I had to go get my charger. I realized, oh shoot, my battery about to cut out. But yeah, I had been to Supreme Court, Fifth Circuit Court, and then the U.S. Supreme Court with my first case. Now, my second case is currently moving into discovery, where we're putting out our schedule of evidence. I already have a jury trial set. We may end up settling before that, but right now we're rocking and rolling in the second case, because now I have a judge that's being fair. All we wanted a chance to do was to present our real information. Okay, but the first judge didn't allow us to do that because it was a lot on the line for those companies. However, this judge against the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers said, y'all got to prove what y'all saying. And so we going to see what they doing, because they're not going to be able to prove the fake sales contract. And then even in the contract, it still only says, if the judge ever really acknowledged it, it still only is worded to say a fourth of his interest. So that's not the whole interest. So where the other 3/4, you know? So it was a lot of things that the first judge just ignored because she was, you know, working with the corporations. They thought it was going to be Mississippi business as usual, just corruption and corruption. But I'm just so glad that, again, this fight is not just my personal fight. It's for everybody, you know, that has been suffered with Mississippi land law. So I had to carry all that weight on my back that no, you know, this is not going to be business as usual. We are coming back for what is ours, and we're doing it lawfully. And even though I had the obstacles of the first case, I want the community to be encouraged. It's not that difficult. I mean, with the legal expertise that I do have working with me, it's really not that difficult, because if the person that is currently on your land, you have to pull the chain of title first to see what's going on and to confirm if your ancestor or someone from your family line did give out a title or gave out the land. Because if they did give out the land,
some type of conveyance.
Yeah. Now, if they gave out the land to in a deed or whatever 20 years ago, 60 years ago, no, you cannot come back and claim it if your family did do it. But if they did not do it, then that's where you have the claim. And also understand, too, the way the land patent system works and grants. It can't be a marital spouse that sold the land. So say, for instance, there's somebody in my group who ancestor, they were going for some land in Texas. So the company said, well, hey, no, our chain of title goes back to the wife. But the wife didn't get the land patent, the husband did. So after he passed away, 20 years later, 30 years later, whatever, she thought she was selling it out, to people or whatever the case was. But guess what? She wasn't the bloodline heir.
All right.
So my friend in my group was still able to sue the companies. So see, this detail of this law is so important to understand. And trust me, don't be intimidated with the fact that, I'm saying I'm a pro se litigant, because my team and myself, we're having to teach them the laws, because even the lawyers that I'm
all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. So even you don't have a lawyer. They, try to make you feel so stupid. You don't have a lawyer, you don't have an attorney, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, they don't know shit. I'm having to tell them about stuff, because in my case that I'm fighting with the first defendants, they produced that fake sales contract, and they also created or presented a 1836 derangement title. So in their title, that they attached all their lands to. And then that's what they were trying to get me to sign. See, this is another forged document. And they're so stupid that they put it as a 1836, filing, saying my grandfather initially filed this in Mississippi in 1836, yada, 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 and it leads to all their stuff. Guess what, guys? My ancestor did not get the land patent until 1840. So how can he have a file on record from 1836 patent filed when he didn't get the land until 1840? But where they made their mistake is because they didn't understand how the cash purchase land patent system worked. Because as Chief was saying, different patents had different issues going on. So with the cash purchase, you paid for your land, but you didn't own it. You paid for it, you got the receipt for it, but you had to wait, and that showed you had equitable interest, but you didn't have the patent and you didn't own it yet. And then what was happening was the government would come back within 4 to 6 years and come back and survey and make sure you cultivating the land and you followed the rules or whatever they had in the general contractual information.
For at least 5 years. Most of them had a 5-year agreement.
Yeah. And so when they come back and approve you, then you get the patent. So see, they just saw that
Right.
1836 financial transaction. So they thought that was the patent. So when they cheated, they didn't even cheat right. You know what I'm saying? So, it's like, so don't let the people make us feel intimidated, because we have to come outside of the system to fight this system. And so, but if that's the stuff, so like I said, they didn't even know what they were doing, cheating, but not even cheating correctly. So, but again, the judge let it slide, let it slide, let it slide. They even said that he sold a parcel in 1837 and then got it back in 1842, then came back and sold it again in 1848. And then that's the one that they stuck with. But if he did sell it in 1837, again, he would have never been granted the patent in 1840 because you couldn't have been over there selling and scheming land when you hadn't even got approved for the land, So, yeah,
We're
so,
gonna go to
but she,
Phoenix. Can't hear you.
Oh no, I was actually agreeing. And I think it's also going to be valid if we have another conversation regarding the Confederacy and those different type of patents, as well as the bounty land warrants as well.
That's right.
Same thing, how they were issued over a course of time, it was often generational. For
Oh,
the
we having
War
bad
of
connections tonight.
1812, even down from the War of 1812 to the Revolutionary War, they didn't get the bounty land warrants until discovery going west, which was, Indiana, Ohio,
That's right.
Iowa, places that weren't even incorporated yet, into different
mm-hmm,
territories. Um, so yeah, those different
yeah,
bounty warrants again, and the forgery of these signatures, and also in the interest of where they had a white guardian. In some states and cases, they made them have white guardians, that were the trustees of their, of your estates and the things that we owned.
That's what. That's a good one. That was how the judge. I never called his name. I don't want to call it right now. I'm like her. Certain things we can't throw out there because they got people waiting to play with your stuff. But
Yes,
the
indeed.
particular judge I'm talking about, that's what he did. They appointed him to oversee the Indian land patent issue and be the negotiator for the script. You see what I'm saying? To make sure it was signed and given back to the chief. That went left. Okay. But these are the things nobody's talking about, Phoenix. And that's why, y'all, I'm so proud that we have built this channel that we can bring guests on like this, Phoenix, so that they can talk to us about what they're going through. Don't have to worry about anybody trying to scam you. We don't want her land patent. I told her, don't give us stuff to nobody, not even Chief Warhorse. Don't give nobody your stuff. Okay. You're doing a great job. Okay.
That's
yes,
And
right.
thank you.
you got to
Yes,
just hold
indeed.
tight. And we wanted to make sure people knew you were battling.
Yes,
And Israel is who brought you to the salad. He delivered you to the salad last week.
yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Got me
You
to
know the
got me
salad
to
that
the
had the little
cookout.
chopped up pieces. Look, we brought the little chop up pieces of meat to the salad. But y'all,
Listen, I just want to
y'all,
put a hedge of protection over this sister, and the ancestors
Lord,
just guide you and keep you safe
Thank
and
you.
keep you healthy. Keep your fight clean, sister. And there's a bunch of us rooting for you. Um, uh,
Yes,
Very
thank you so
powerful,
much.
very respectful. Much respect, much respect. And we just put a hedge of protection over you.
yes,
Um,
Lord.
Yeah. We
and we
thank
got your
yes,
back.
thank you.
We got
Thank
your
you so
back.
And she
much.
will be back to keep us
Thank
up
you
to
so
date,
much.
guys, because she's now cooking with Chief over here, Phoenix, and she's going to keep us up to date. And we're going to be watching what she's doing. This is her first time, but not her last time. But I want y'all to do something. Everybody, I hope you hit the like button. Those on the television, take your remote, mash the up button. Once the up button come, the menu come across, go across, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and journey in so that you can be able to get a notice when we come back. Because see, our people know I will come in on the drop of the hat. You better be ready for a notification. Because if she call me and say something hot, I'm going on air and I'm gonna drop you a notification. We finna see what she got. Okay. So everybody, please hit the like button. Please give some love and some hundreds to this lady and some praying hands, okay? And I'm gonna do like this. They covered her with
Mhm.
everything. I'm gonna ask God to build a fence around her and protect her every day in her journey on this
Thank you
fight,
so much.
because we are trying to do it the right way, the legal way. We don't need the
Mhm.
men's in black with black sheds and black cars rolling up on us,
Mhm.
kicking doors down because we doing something illegal. That's not what we do over here. Okay? We try to take it the way it go. But we all can learn from each other in our journey. And Phoenix is so gung-ho about telling people to do their genealogy. Now y'all know the importance of why she keep telling y'all, do your genealogy, do your genealogy. Okay, and I want to say this again.
Mhm. Yeah, because that's how when I started doing my genealogy, I used to hear Phoenix talking about it too. So
See that,
I started doing it. See,
say,
because I know
who would have
Phoenix
known
from
we would have made a
back in
complete
the day when
circle? Look, we made a circle. Now you
yeah.
are there with Phoenix. Okay.
Mhm.
So Phoenix, look at that. You
Mhm.
encouraged
Yeah.
her to do her genealogy. So I
Mhm.
want to do
Amen.
something.
Oh
Smith is
man.
still over here waiting to come up with when I said Freeman and Friedman. We got to talk about that on closure. We
Yes.
must do that because this showing you what makes her legit as a freedman of that time and how she became a freedman at that time through reclassification. I'm bringing Brother Ishmael on the air with his presentation on. Are you ready for me, Brother Ish?
I'm ready whenever you are, Chief. You know I'm locked and loaded at all times.
Well, okay. Well, I'm hitting the button.
I did want to share also that we do have an active fundraising taking place on our sister's behalf. Please post up in the chat. We have the GoFundMe. We have the current raise of the $12,304. I do see some people that's been putting in over the last 23 minutes. So please continue to give, to share, to raise up the funds of what's necessary in order to make sure that the fight for justice is, going to be completed and also going to be victorious. So please.
Thank you for that. Yes, thank you so much, guys, for that. Because every little bit helps. I've been in the fight, but yes, we are still fighting, and so anything you can do in that regard will be greatly appreciated. Thank you, Brother Ish, for sharing that.
You mighty
Absolutely.
close. She's mighty close to her goal. Is she got 12,304 for her 13,000? Come on, y'all. Let's make it happen.
Absolutely. Good at 95%. We only got 5% to go, and y'all know 5% is a very powerful number. Let's close that 5% and let's close the gap to make sure we make that 100+% on that. Absolutely. Also,
Right.
we have the active petition taking place. Again, we are now well over the 11,500 goal. We are now at 11,631 plus and counting with the petition. And Chief also has the physical copy of the petition, and we're continuing to push forward with that also. In dealing with the freedmen, we're dealing with two statuses here: the freedman legal status and the freeman legal status. So in dealing with the freedman legal status, Chief asked for us to bring that up on what the freedman status is. Did you want to deal with the freedmen descendants of the 5 tribes? Is that what you wanted?
Well, but we want to go to the original freedman and the original freeman. Before the tribes was established, 13 colonies had a status set up that they need to understand that it didn't just have anything to do with slavery, or it didn't have nothing to do with blacks. It had to do with immigrants and what qualification they had to have to meet to be able to vote or be a part of the country.
In dealing with the freedmen, you're correct. Freedmen was dealing with, again, it actually was a carryover from Rome.
That's right.
Over in Rome, you would wear a red cap. And if you wore this red cap, which was almost like a fitted cap, that was an indication that you were a freedman in how you would move in society. So
that's correct.
Built over from
and that's what we want to talk about.
They also called them yeomen, right?
That's right.
Yes, the yeoman. That's correct. Yes. So if you deal with these freedmen, again, freedmen liberty were former slaves in ancient Rome who gained their freedom through a process called manumission. While granted partial Roman citizenship and basic economic rights, they remained bound to their former masters through a patron-client system, which obligated them to perform duties and showing lifelong royalty. And then you can also see what the hat would look like if you just put in what the hat was. It would be a red cap that they would wear, or like a fitted hat. It's called a pelleas that you would put on top of your head. And those indication is it says a red figure. So this red hat is what you would wear in society as a freedman of indication, carried over to Washington, D.C., carried over to the United States. This is where freedmen moved in society.
Did y'all know that? Has the thing that and then you had freeman. Okay, go to freeman.
Freeman, a legal status of freeman on the land, is entirely unrecognized by courts, meaning adherents are fully subject to standard statutory laws, taxes, and government. So freeman is not dealing with freedmen, because a freedman is one that was manumitted. A freeman is someone who is not manumitted but moving in the society as a free man. So
Okay.
you have the legal status.
So free man, you move through society. My people were free people of color. Her people was free people of color. A lot of
Right.
Indians carried free people of color. But what we're looking at in Oklahoma and other places where they're capitalizing off the word freedmen, that is not something that started here. Like you say, we brought this into this country from Rome. And it does not mean that they are descendants of slaves. Okay? Because
Correct.
they would not, if they were descendants of slaves, they would not have been able to get a piece of property deeded off to them from the nation when the United States insists that the land be broke to the descendants of the tribe. Okay.
And we'll be able to see this we'll look at the Oxford Freeman. The term freeman was originally a definition of status in feudal society, but in England it later became to mean a man possessing the full privileges and immunities of a city, borough, or trade guild, to which admission was usually by birth, apprenticeship, gift, or purchase.
Okay, so they're using the word, I hate to cut you off, I want to catch up. So they're using the word freedman, it then slipped in to take away freeman. Okay.
Right.
Freeman. So I could understand in Oklahoma if they had freemen, but not the freedmen.
Right.
Okay? Because that gave them status to move through society like everybody else, because they didn't want to be captured under being thought that they were slaves because of the color of their skin. So they titled that they wore were freemen. So why white Indians don't wear that is because they did not have to be subjected to a chance of being caught by slave catchers. Are y'all with me on that?
Did y'all catch the hustle? Did y'all catch
Yep.
that?
Yep.
So this lady family was able to purchase land at $1.25 or $2 because they were free men of color. Y'all see how they played with that free men of color? They threw that on there instead of letting you know you're a freeman, not a freedman, a freeman.
Her ancestor made moves as a freeman with business associates and acquiring land as free people of color, as free men. These free men, right? So they're trying to conflate the terms in order to make you buy into a stereotype. And let's just deal with what that land is worth today. Today's value of 1,300 acres in Washington County, Mississippi costs, based on current market data, 1,300 acres of land in Washington County, Mississippi costs roughly $5.1 to $5.5 million overall. The estimate relies on a median market value of approximately $4,208 per acre. Okay, so that $1.25 is now been multiplied because land compounds itself, right? It's an investment unto itself. So we're
put a reparation price in the thing.
What was that?
Somebody put it in the chat. That's your reparational price right there.
That's correct. Today's value is for that partial of the land is the estimated amount. So I just want to make sure we were able to bring.
That's not counting her pain and legal costs and all of that other stuff.
That's correct.
What I'm trying to say here is that's what she's looking at, you know, and when we have people about reparation, and I ask questions, you got to tell me something. This cheap reparation on what? Who owe you? She's telling you she know who have her stuff. She know the value of the purchase cost. She know the year it was purchased. And she looking at market value of today.
And farmland is not the same as commercial property.
No.
That's
right?
right.
So it might be
That's
farmland
right.
that they're measuring now, but now
No, wait.
that's
Let's slice another. We slice another slice off this roast. You brought something up. I gotta slice that roast. Come on, baby. Tell them what's on your property. You don't have to name the businesses, but name what kind of businesses is on it. Oh, it's commercial, guys. Go ahead. She's back on stage.
Oh yeah, well, okay, yeah. So they're running major cotton farms on there, multiple cotton farms, and I think they're doing some
Can't hear her.
soy. Uh, oh, you can't hear me?
yes, we
You
hear
can't
you,
hear
sis.
me?
We hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so they're doing a lot of cotton from what I understand. And then the US military, they're doing a research. They're doing some type of secret research in the ground over there. So all kind of different things that are going on. When I was in the Mississippi jail, could you believe that I met a lady? The first conversation I had was with an older white lady who knew my ancestors' land.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I was just like, okay, wait, this is crazy. Yeah. I mean, she was just like, wait, huh? I'm from that county, and when I began to tell her the companies and stuff, she said, oh, I know that area. I've been there. And she drew me a map of everything. It was crazy. But that just let me know I was moving in divine order. But she was able to confirm things I know about the Army, because I can only see it from the aerial view. And I was kept saying, I wonder what they doing, or are they gonna save it for later, just trying to figure out what they was doing. But she was able to give me the inside tea, okay, from inside my little feds facility, letting me know that they are doing something underground, because her husband has seen it when he was scrapping for metals, just trying to go driving around picking up metals, and drove all the way back where they was at. So I got the whole insight on what's going on. So it's a lot of things going on over there. And she thinks it has something to do with aliens or something weird, because he won't let her go look at it. He was so terrified at what he saw outside of the facility. So I'm just sitting there cracking up, because I said, oh God, I said, well, the aliens are the Nephilim giants or something, because she said it was these huge there was some huge chairs that they were researching, and it just didn't make any sense based on normal stuff. And so he was so scared, so he won't even let her go look at it. But yeah, they got stuff going on, but it
Brother Ish is saying the price going up, but brother is
hey, look, y'all
Yesterday's price is not
y'all can
today's
have it.
price.
Brother Ish said he was talking about just land with nothing on it. He was not talking about a prospering 1,300 acres.
Okay, yeah.
So
now, mind you, too, my grandfather was on there with two other business partners. So technically, I just own what my grandfather had, because he had two other business partners as tenants in common on the land. And some of you all may see that too when you find your records, that maybe it was a whole group of people a part of that particular patent of 80 acres, or it could be 2 people or 5 people or 20
That's why they need to be doing their genealogy in Mississippi, huh?
Right.
But another thing, guys, why I want to tell you why this is so important. Not only to me, I'm like the Tory Lanez crack the code. This is, how he was crack the code on the NFTI, the things he was doing. This is the crack the code on reparations. Because as you said, family by family, we can now tangibly see the real dollars of what's associated back to our families. So I think this trumps all reparation conversations, because now we know these land titles can give us the exact numbers that they can no longer skirt around as it relates to what's owed to us. But another thing that I want to bring this out just to think about, because we are just now coming back into looking at land, because we didn't got really urban, a lot of us, right? But now we have to understand from a national defense level, we have so many foreigners, as we always talk about, coming over here, but we don't pay attention enough to seeing the land acquisition of foreign countries that are coming over here, buying up Arkansas, getting Texas and whatnot. Okay. China, Russia, even Africa. Do you guys know that major African oil tycoon guy out of Nigeria, Djibouti, what's his name? Djobate, the top richest man in Nigeria. Do you know that he is pulling his petrol? If you look up his company, he is pulling petroleum oil out of West Texas. Okay, not Nigeria, Texas.
Insane.
Okay, these are our lands. Why aren't we a part of the contracts? And if nothing else, I saw some Arabs doing a podcast last year talking about Elon Musk's dad and how he's got this new project about trying to monetize water. We know we're paying for it now, but they're really trying to make it a commodity like a gold or all this crazy stuff they always planning for the future, right? And they happen to be talking about this overseas on a podcast. I just saw it on just flipping through Instagram or whatever. But come to find out, they mentioned, oh, and guess where he's going to set up that infrastructure of the water? Out of Texas. Okay. So while we're so busy thinking that our country does not have resources and whatnot, you are blinded. We got everything right here, and all these other people are using it. But we have a very unique situation in our country where the average people got land. Now, see, when they over in Africa taking the cobalt, the average little Africans, they don't own the land.
They
So
have
it was
no land.
ingenious.
Right.
It was
And while you're
ingenious
saying
of
that,
our
another thing, Ms. Labuzan, that's on the land patent, it lets you know on the land patent, do you have and hold the mineral rights? And if you own your mineral rights on your land patent, then you got water and whatever other minerals are there. And they also trying to buy air rights from people now. So if you got a land patent, that you got the air rights and the mineral rights. Y'all with where I'm at?
You do.
So even if they start doing these new things they're doing, if you got your land patent, your wealth is in them, either renting whatever they getting from you or buying, but don't ever sell your land and your land patent. But there are resources we could be selling off our own.
That's what I'm trying to say.
And be making our money and then, to help our families.
That's right.
And this is what's bad. Even the sales contract that they said my grandfather sold it to was to what? The Merchant Bank of New Orleans. So how are banks being backed up? Off the land. So then here again, this is how we...
Did he sell, even if he sold it? Let's say he sold it. Did he sell his mineral
Banks can't buy land. Banks can't buy anything.
Yeah, and it can't. It ain't...
But that's some of the scam they was doing. But also...
Yeah, this was a scam.
It had to be in the deed of the land patent to say, do you hold a land patent? So when you sell a piece of land, did you sell your mineral rights? See, when you buy a subdivision, you don't have the mineral rights because the developer keeps the mineral rights to every subdivision that he build. He have a back end gain off of mineral rights. Y'all with where I'm at?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you cannot.
Yeah, but most of these land patents, as you said,
your community, because you purchased that property by color title from the developer, and he purchased it where he kept the mineral rights, so he can put in a water company or water meters, and you pay them back. A lot of people have their private water system. That's because that company kept the mineral rights. That's another topic.
But most of the patents do include anything in the earth and everything in the air. Okay, and it's not really until the 1900 patents and stuff for those that came out. Once our country got usurped in the government, they started cutting out some of that stuff and taking those things out. But for the most part, it includes everything. So can you imagine the oil? All of Louisiana oil. So what we doing?
You should be getting a share, but also you got to look at on the land patent. It protects you from eminent domain. Okay, so a land patent covers a lot of stuff.
That's right.
It's real American ownership. The stuff that you be hearing these pale skins talking about, but we got it. And if anybody else I don't care if it was the pale skin people, anybody else, if any other culture in America had what we're talking about,
oh man, you wouldn't be able to tell them nothing.
They would be running to it. It's like we are so spoiled. some people have been hearing me talk about this stuff for 3 years and still ain't went to go look. You know what I mean? Because
Well, first, it took them
we
3
don't
years to get
understand
off
the
of going to
power of
Africa.
what we have.
Baby, they just spent more
Exactly.
time
Trying to go
online
get an
trying to
acre
get
over
to
there.
Africa and waiting on spaceships. Somebody to distract their mind away from their heritage. See, but I'm not
Yes,
going to be
indeed.
Esau. I'm not going to be Esau. I'm not going to give up my birthright for a bowl of soup. Okay? Not happening.
But see, now you
I
see
think
why
we had
they
a
had to
super
keep
night
us.
tonight.
Yeah, but you do see why, guys. They have to. This is why they have had to keep us so culturally distracted. Now you see why, because we are the ones that are connected to the land, and as long as you looking somewhere else, they could be getting rich off of your timber, off of your oil, off of your cotton, and off of everything else that's in this ground, because this is what's backing up everything about their wealth is the land. I don't even say they got up on us on slavery, because I can't find no slaves in none of my genealogy on my mama's side or my daddy's side. But I will say that they definitely got up on us on the land. And if pale skinned people were here like we think they were here, why don't they have land patented titles?
That's
See,
what I'm
there's
saying.
something going on with this whole thing. It don't make no sense, because if they were here like we keep saying they were here, and they were dominating everything, then why don't they have land patent titles?
I don't live on no reservation, but if I was under a federally recognized tribe that openly say I'm a descendant and I was a slave under them, if I was black Indians trapped under that, I'll be asking for my money from them, from slavery. You already know who your master was. If they said that tribe owned you, I think that tribe owned you. Okay? So these tribes out here saying those are our slaves. Well, you admitting publicly you enslaved these black folks, and you still don't want to give them or help them. See, they lucky they over there and they ain't dealing with us out here, because they openly done said they're my slaves. Okay.
There is one book I would like to highly recommend. I didn't name this book, but it's called Redskins, Ruffled Shirts, and Rednecks. And it deals with the Indian allotments of
how to that book. I got to get that one.
Yeah, Redskins, Ruffled Shirts, and Rednecks. It deals with the Indian allotments that deal with Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, and the deeds that they were doing in order to rob the lands. Going and finding one Indian that wasn't even connected to nothing, get him drunk, make him go and sign over land in order for rednecks to come and take over the land of the whole land. They're explaining in details how they robbed systematically, got access to the land. All documented, all in this book.
I have a lot of stuff documented. And let me tell you something, Ishmael, and you know what they don't understand? The Constitution protects the people who can prove that they are the victim of that. The Constitution has it written in there to protect anybody taking your land under these scams, because there was a lot of scammers, carpetbaggers, and all of these scallywags and all of this here stuff.
Squatters will come.
And the United States put a lot of protect, but you cannot win on this internet. See what we're doing right now? This is us trying to educate other people. When Chief disappeared, Ishmael and Phoenix, no, Chief out working on something. Your fight is not on the internet. Your fight is in the courtroom like you're doing, like I'm doing. Your fight is getting with your elected officials and educating them to your plight, okay? And I'm telling you, I'm waiting to see some black politicians step up one day and shock me and say, hey, I'm getting in the fight all the way. I don't see that too much, okay? And I would like to see you get that in Mississippi, because I actually have helped, and Ishmael and them that met my elected officials here. And my elected officials are stepping up and helping to protect me, and nobody ever done that through this whole civil rights era from the 60s. No one have stepped up politically outside of Reverend Alexander and a few people from New Orleans. But in St. Tammany, I had a handful of elected officials. I done told y'all their names. Y'all done saw them on the show. But I've never seen collectively, listen at me, everybody working together, city, parish, state, to try to figure out how we right some of this wrong. We can never right the whole thing. And we cannot be so greedy that we want everything. because the people that's here didn't do it to us, and we ain't the ones that was the direct victim, but we are the direct effect of our grandparents. It passed down to us generational, just like that land patent was supposed to pass down. The pain that they hit, the blow that they hit on our grandparents, is trickled down to us, and we want that to stop and not go to the next generation. Y'all, this has been a dynamite night. I'm fixing to make my little closeout talk by letting Phoenix have her closeout. I want to let each one of my panelists say what they have to say tonight. Hey, y'all, throw some loves and some hundreds over there to our guests. Y'all done throw all the blessings we can throw. At least she's not out here with nobody not seeing her. We got eyes on you now, sister, from coast to coast. I would like everybody that's on in the chat live, make sure that you hit that like button. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. And those who are not getting their notifications, please unsubscribe, resubscribe, and you should be back into getting your notification. Phoenix, anything you want to close out with? Phoenix. Okay, Ishmael, she having that. Wait, we can't hear you.
Thank you again, Chief. Sister Jennine, it was nice to meet you. Um, stay strong, warrior sister. Stay strong, brother Ish. Always on time. Chapisla Chike. Thanks, Chief.
All right, brother Ish, come on.
Yes, I just want to thank you again, Chief, for allowing us to be on the platform this week. I got some really good eating. I'm full. I got the itis, so I'm very, very happy. I want to thank our sister Jennine for being able to make it this evening. I want to thank the chat and Urban Indian Heritage Society for stepping up. Y'all so beautiful, so strong, and so wonderful. We're always happy to be of service. And I'd like to thank you again, Chief, for allowing us on and get another episode in. And I love you. I appreciate you.
Okay, thank you. I love y'all too. Ms. Labuzan, let me hear what you got to say. Your first time on our set.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chief, for having me on this evening. Phoenix, Brother Ish, so good to be on panel with you all. Thank you for hearing my story. Thank you for sharing my story. And I hope that you all and the chat will be continuously inspired, and we'll keep educating our community, keeping everybody update. We're all playing a significant role. Okay, there's so many moving parts to all the stuff we need to do. So one person can't do everything. So we all got to be soldiers on the field, and keep marching forward. We are setting legal precedent. So that's my role, is to help set this legal precedent so that when we get this door finally kicked down, you'll be able to use my blueprint and come back and claim what's also yours. And so I'm just happy to be here. We are all history in the making, but we're better in strength and unity. And so thank you again for having me on. And I look forward to being back again sometime. Thank you so much.
You're welcome anytime. If you need to come and talk to us, just hit me up with a text. I'll give you a call. We'll schedule it up now. Get with the team, and hey, we'll be here to hear you. We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
To our text, to our chat room over here, texting. Y'all been real busy tonight over here in this chat. I'm gonna have to go do like normally, go home, start reading some of the chats from the television. But I want all y'all to send up us some love and power for the guests we had, and for Phoenix and Ish from being here tonight to help serve up this dish. I think it was a buffet. What do y'all think? We served a buffet. Had a salad last week, buffet this time. God only know, because she ain't through slicing that roast. I'm telling you, it's garlic stuffed. All right, it's good all the way. And you know what? This is not a roast with a bone. It's a boneless roast you get. You ain't gotta worry about how you're gonna cut around it. It's a boneless roast. All right. I would like to say good night to everybody else. I would like to say everybody have a peaceful night. Thank you from coast to coast. Chief Warhorse, love you. See you next week, same time, same place. Good night. All right. I would like to say good night.